Hello and welcome. Silrace here with Star Citizen. This is my impression video of F7CM Super Hornet. Right, I'm doing this a little differently than I have done my impression videos previously. As you can see, we are in the space right away. This is a space game. So now I'm going to try and do all the things I normally do in the hangar, right here, in space as well. Please tell me, is this the better way to do things? Do you like this more? Or would you like for me to separate the flying, the cockpit talk from the hangar talk itself and do that bit in the hangar itself? So I'm gonna first talk about the cockpit here, because we are in the cockpit after all. This is the Super Hornet, and I'll be honest and say that this cockpit looks really good. Firstly, you have a lot of real estate space here to look through. This top bar here, granted, yeah, you can lose an enemy ship inside it, or possibly one of these support beams here, but it's still a lot less clutter on it than, for example, the Aurora cockpit has. A lot less. So, this looks like a fighting ship cockpit from that point of view. And these information set on the top, very nice. You can just straight up tell that there is a warning sign going on, there is a missile inbound or whatever. Very nice. So lots of info for the, well, pilot in one good go. So by default this thing actually mounts a whole lot of guns. If you look at the list down there on the left, yeah, there are lasers at the wingtips, there are a lot of turrets, 2 at the nose and 2 on the turret at top, and yeah, on top of that we have Talon Quadrak. So right, this thing, and all of these guns, as you can see actually, all of these guns are already mounted on maneuverable turrets. They are on gimbal mounts right away. So yeah, that is the default configuration of this ship. Very nice, makes the dogfighting with this thing an absolute pleasure. It is easy to track multiple targets with all of your guns at once. It is brilliant. But I will talk about that a little more after I have taken a look outside of the ship, talking about how it looks, because this is a two-man ship, essentially. There is a second seat behind the first one. As you can see back there is a second seat, and that is big part of getting the most out of your Super Hornet. But let's return to that in a moment. Let's get out of this pilot seat. Let's talk about the ship from the outside. So yeah, get into the EVA. I have the cockpit close on me so I don't accidentally slide back in there. Turn around and let's have a look at this awesome ship. So firstly, it comes with the name of Hornet attached, and if I go right here, right above it, like so, and take a look, take a good look at it. If you consider that it has 4 wings, essentially, to the sides, like that. And these 2 things here are part of its body, obviously these wings going sideways. Consider them legs. Then you have this big, kind of a cylindrical middle part with a stubby, short-nosed cockpit. It is a Hornet, isn't it? I love the fact that it is named Hornet and then it is modeled after a Hornet. That is just brilliant. You take the name and then you model your ship after it. Awesome stuff. I don't know if that went the other way around actually, if they modeled the ship first and then were okay, what do we name? It looks like a Hornet, let's name it Hornet. I cannot for sure say which way it is done. If anybody knows me, or knows, let me know please, because I would love to know. But anyway, it does look like a Hornet and I'm really happy about that. When the name matches whatever it's, you know, designed to look like, It's fantastic, fantastic. But firstly, from the top here, the ship is not massive, right? However, from above and from below, because of this turret mounted on the center of it, it is a big target. From the front and from the back, and also from the sides, it is not quite so. If I move more towards the front of the ship here and show you how it looks, you can see that for yourself. Like from here, if I turn the angle so it doesn't screw all people off, because well, I realize this is going to be disorienting for some people who are not used to space games. But if you're going to play Star Citizen, you have to realize that there is no up and down, there is none of that stuff in space, after all. If you look at it from here, it is not quite so massive a target, right? It is kind of sleek looking from the front, also from the rear. I'll get to the rear of the ship in a bit. It does have those two massive jet intakes, which can be kind of a you know, big target boxes. But I do, for example, enjoy the fact that somebody put a little bit of cover for the guns which are at the wingtips. Like there is that little tilted piece there going below them, which is like, okay, so if you collide with the wingtip to something, or something hits the wingtip, it might not blow the gun clean off right away. There's something a little bit there to, you know, maybe protect the gun a little bit. That is nice. But yeah, so from the top and from the bottom, if I go below the ship, this ship is a massive target, which can be a bit of an issue for dogfighting. Like, as you can see, it's just because the midsection of the ship, thanks to the turret on top, is so very large. This is obviously the bottom housing of the turret, and there is unfortunately no turret below, or as in underneath the ship. That would have been interesting if you had a turret on top or at the bottom, or if they would eventually give us a choice to move the turret from the top to the bottom of the ship. I would actually really enjoy that choice. Anyway. Maneuvering thrusters, big massive maneuvering thrusters down here, and let's take a look at the warning signs again, because that's what I do. It's part of the fun. Jet intake, danger, on these big boxes. Caution signs and all that good stuff. Very nice. The ship, it looks blocky. I mean, if you compare this to things like the Saber, the Gladius, those ships, right? It looks blocky. It doesn't look quite as sleek as those ships do, but it still has very much its own charm. Because, well, firstly the Hornet look, in addition to the Hornet name, but it does have very much its own charm. And granted, when the bottom of the ship is basically, or not bottom, the rear of the ship is basically one massive thruster like this, that makes it a very easy, very desirable target for anybody who is like chasing after you. Because this is basically the only thing they can hit if they are right behind you, right? So this can be a bit of a liability overall, because you are relying on one big thruster, and it is a big freaking thruster. Like if I go further back, yeah, it's essentially the size of the, you know, midsection of the entire ship in diameter. That is kind of horrible when you are being chased, because you know your thruster, your engine is likely going to get shot to pieces. But, other than that, you do have this gun on top. Let's take a look at that gun as well. But first, let's admire this ship. It is gorgeous. I mean, I am more of a, like, sleek, stylized ship kind of person, but I still appreciate rugged beauty like this. I mean, it looks like a fighting ship. With this turret on top, I mean, obviously you won't be seeing this kind of turrets in current modern era jet fighter planes. They just can't do it. We are in space, however, this definitely can do it. So, with this thing on top, it is a clear indication to everybody, I am here to fight. There is no question when you see one of these things with turrets like sprouting out of the middle of the top of it. So that is absolutely fantastic. So here is the, on top of it, here's the gunner camera. The gunner is looking through that thing on the from the second seat, and well, pointing this at the enemies. Massive guns. Right? Very cool. Now it is time to go into the second seat, and actually, curiously enough, the easiest way to do that is to go below the ship. You can do this in the hangar as well, just fine. Go to the bottom of the ship, and typically here you get a use button to actually enter the second seat. Because when you are alone for the ship, majority of the time when you hit the use button, you actually like jump into the pilot seat. Let's see, can I do it from top on here actually? Because typically I am when you play around with the ship in the hangar, you cannot get on top of it very easily. So if I use it here, can I get into the secondary seat? Yes, I can. Very nice, very nice. Alright, cool. In hangar you kind of have to get below and behind the ship, and this is the screen you get when you play as the person in the man turret. I have no idea why it always tells you that systems are overheating when you get in there, because, I mean, come on, they are not. Nobody was using this anyway. But anyway, so it does not have full 180 degrees of traverse, as you can see. I cannot point it straight up. It still has pretty good firing arc. Not quite 90 degrees either, and so on. It does spin full 180 degrees up, not 90 degrees, well, 180 degrees sideways, not 90 degrees up, and not 90 degrees down. It still has fairly good firing arc, so you should be able to track your targets just fine. There is a little bit of an issue I find, which is right here. You can actually fire at your own cockpit, essentially, from here. So I still think this is something they need to fix and make it so that you cannot bring the crosshair all the way down on your cockpit, because that looks ridiculous, right? But nowhere else can you actually fire at your own ship. It's just this cockpit section here which you can fire at. Right. So this is the main attraction of the turret for me, because frankly, the Super Hornet, when you have a second person with you in the ship, is one of the few dogfighting ships capable of truly shooting backwards. You can try and, well, simply discourage anyone from chasing you, from getting on your tail, by having a second person in the cockpit firing away at anybody chasing after you. That is brilliant. That is one big reason to bring a friend along for the ride to, you know, sit in this turret. He can shoot at different targets which you cannot even point your guns at because of the direction you are traveling in, and he can stop people from chasing you, which is absolutely awesome. Now, let's get out of the seat. You have seen turret usage and so on, and frankly, is this ship worth buying? Let's just ask that, because, okay, firstly, you cannot buy Super Hornet just yet. It is not on sale for the moment, but it has come on sale as well, and in my honest opinion, if you have a second person you can bring along with you, or for example, let's say you have a friend who wants to get into the game but doesn't, you know, want to pledge money into it or whatnot, this could very well be a good purchase. You can bring your friend along. So for that reason, I really like Super Hornet. Okay, granted you can very easily, very much play Super Hornet with just one person. When you are just in the pilot seat yourself, flying around, you can still use that top-mounted turret yourself, firing forward. However, you're going to lose a lot of its potential when you don't have that second person, that co-pilot, firing the turret for you. Like if I go like this, you can definitely see me shooting with the turret. But it is very different when you actually have a person in that secondary seat, that second seat, firing away at people. Very different experience. This is not the fastest ship on the block, right? When it comes to dogfighting ships. 225 top speed and all that good stuff. It still maneuvers fairly well. So there is that. Being a bulky, kind of a big fighter ship, and not having as massive speed as some of the other ones around. Still very maneuverable, very good ship. In my honest opinion, especially if you have a friend to bring along. And you don't necessarily need to have the friend before, you can obviously always make friends while you play the game. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this particular, well, impression video on Super Hornet. And please let me know, is this better way of doing them than doing part in the hangar and then obviously the space part on the side afterwards, or maybe before? But let me know, please. Thank you very much for watching.